This one here, for example, is our business card policy video, and I got our admin person to put an intro on this, for example. Now, I'll just maybe if I can just turn the volume down, hopefully that's coming through. But if I play that, you'll see here that it has the intro to it. So it depends how professional you want to get, but you can see there that it comes into our intro. There's a little bit of music, and then it goes into the actual policy itself, and it talks the person through the Word doc, or it talks them through the Excel doc, and this could be anything from bookkeeping or whatever. So and we use Camtasia to do that. And then of course we have a video of how to do this as well. How do you actually how do you put a intro in there, and how do you put an outro and all that sort of thing. So
a good question from Steve there, Jamie, was, if you're using Loom, so Loom, when you record your screen, then it gives you a link to that video, which is, it's housed on Loom, and it'll be the same for some other platforms. But then do you then just paste that link into your intranet and send people to the Loom videos on that site, or do you download the video and then upload it? How do you?
Yeah, with Loom, so to answer the question, with Loom, it just has a hyperlink, Brenton. So if you get that hyperlink, you can then put it straight into here, for example. So there's your business card.
Just to put you on the spot, could we just show how easy it is to create a standard operating procedure with Loom? Record your screen for 2 seconds, and then, as if you're recording the business card policy, and let's just do it on the fly. It's probably
I don't know how it's going to affect the technology, but yeah, you just basically hit record, and then you can decide which screen you're going to share, and away you go. It might get jammed because of the microphone and whatnot. Yeah, but
that's now recording your screen.
Yeah, so that's recording my screen right now, and then when you finish recording, if you can just go finish, and then you can see it's copied the URL, and it's you can see there. So that's copy video link. So there you go. You've just created your first video in a matter of seconds. Yeah, and then once you've copied that, you can pop that in. If I jump back to the Wize Hub, for example, then you can just you can edit this, and just to show the the practical application of using this, you can just edit that, and you can put in click here, for example, and then with this link you can just pop it straight in, and away you go. You can pop that link in there and save that, and basically you're done. You just republish it, and that's like. You can tell me how long that took to do, Brenton.
Yeah, literally minutes. And there's I guess a couple of ways to skin a cat in terms of if you're recording your screen locally on your computer, then having a directory of a central directory of videos that you can then upload to your intranet from there.
Yeah.
Some of the comments in the chatter, Jonathan said you just got to be careful, using Loom, that you haven't got the video set to public. So, you can create a private portal on Loom so no one else can see the videos.
Yeah. And that's the same with, Vimeo. So we've used Vimeo a lot over the years. And also, I've seen a lot of people use YouTube as well. So you just got to, put the link on private, and then people within your organisation use it. But another process, Brenton, is, if you do get people posting things on there, a part of your policy, they can just go into draft, and then, until, you might have your weekly senior client managers meeting and they sign off on it, and so yeah, just a process for it. But again, it's about progress, not perfection. As soon as you make a start, you can obviously you can aim for perfection, but you can always just keep improving your system. And that's sort of
Jamie, just ask, in terms of like the core ingredients for a standard operating procedure, do you guys have any particular criteria around that at Sky? Like, does every SOP have to be attached to a video as well? Like, you can't have just the document, you have to have an explainer video. How do you guys position that?
Yeah, we focus a lot more just on the videos, Brenton. We've been down the path of, trying to put step by step in Word documents, for example, like literally typing them out. And years ago, I remember I did work experience at one accounting firm. They had folders and folders of how to do stuff. But the tricky bit then becomes, Brenton, well, what if we change systems? What if there's an update to that system? Do we have to go in and then update all that? Years ago, even, for example, I'll just give you a classic example. Like I bought a lawnmower a while back, and years ago, you'd get a massive manual, with a lawnmower. Or the other day, I bought an e-bike. So what's the first thing they do? You either get a CD-ROM with it that you can watch the video, or alternatively they give you you get a link and a sign up an account, and then you can watch the videos about your e-bike. So the days where having text is pretty much past now. It's more about having that online platforms that you can access on how to do stuff. YouTube's a critical one. You can almost Google YouTube how to do anything. So the best advice I can give everyone is like, go down the video path, because it's just so much quicker. And obviously you can share your screen, for example, and you record your screen.
As you innovate and change and improve the systems, it's not hard to then re-record a couple of minute video, as opposed to spending hours updating a procedure manual or whatever.
That's right. That's exactly right. And just, the other thing is that if for everyone who's using the Wize Hub, there's a set of videos in here on how to use it as well. So, there's an overview. So I think a lot of people, will often ask our support, how do I do this? How do I do that? So there's a lot in there as well, just in the instructional videos as well. But even at a higher level, step 6, coming back to what I said earlier, step 6 is about, your systems and processes. And they're some of the fundamental ones that people can have a look at. That's actually in the Wize vault as well. But again, that talks about, here you go. So recording standing operating procedures. So you can have a look at 16.13, which is a bit more of a deep dive into doing the SOPs as well. So yeah, so it's all there. It's just a matter of focus and creating new habits in your firm. And sure enough, after a year of just continually adding to this, you'll get 80% of nearly everything you do in your how-to section, and creating a vault of how you do things at your firm. Because for every firm, for every single firm will be slightly different. Every firm has slightly different cloud stack, different ways of doing things. So the important thing is to document it and get all the IP, out of your head into a place people can find. It's, from a bigger picture, it's like when I met Ed, Brenton, you and I said, Ed, how do we get all your intellectual property out so that we can share that with the world? Yeah. Well, I think we're up to 130 videos now.
Yeah, that's it. And that's a standard operating procedure of Ed's mind. So
yeah.
But I just think as well, like, you've just seen how easy it is, and this is a balance sheet play, but it's a quad 2 activity, so it does take time. But I'm just thinking there, like, if you were to record one standard operating procedure, per team member a day, which would take 5 minutes to do, that's 5 a week, say 20 a month for 10 months a year, that's 200 standard operating procedures documented in your practice a year per team member. Like, your entire business would be completely documented within a year.
Yeah. Absolutely. You've just got to, the question every time you have to show someone how to do something, just stop and think, should I record this? Because other people can benefit from this. And this is about leverage. People, how many times have I had new Wize members in the position I was in? Oh, I've got no time. I've got no time. Why don't I have time? It's because, one, I'm not delegating effectively. You know, you don't want to abdicate, but how do I delegate? Give people the power, give them the tools, give them the videos, give them a policy, a procedure. You know, how do we order business cards? Like every firm watching here now, do you have a policy on how to order business cards? Or what about the uniform? You know, and the question is, if I need business cards, or if I need a new uniform or a shirt, or if I need to order stationery, do they, you know, ask yourself, do they have to come to you? Do they have to come to you as the firm owner? Do they have to come to you to work out what to do? You know, and if the answer is yes, they do have to come to me, then do something about it. You know, create the policy, because every time you create that policy or create that video, that's your time back. You know, and what's
one step closer to freedom. Like it's literally every standard operating procedure is one step closer to being free.
Yeah, that's right. It's one step closer to freedom, and it's one step closer to getting your firm to run without you, so that all the IP is not in your head. It's such a simple thing, but we just forget it. I think we get so focused just running on that treadmill and what's the next job. But you're absolutely right, Brenton. It's what they call quad 2 activity. It's not urgent, but it's important. It's a bit like, you know, Ed says, you know, should I stop and service the car? You know, or it's a bit, the other analogy is like the guy who's, you know, flat out in the woods, you know, chopping wood, and the other guy comes along and says, hey mate, why don't you sharpen your saw? And the other guy says, oh, I'm too busy. So, yeah.
And Christy's just raised a good point, and something I was thinking about as well is they call it, we like to think of it as in case of a sudden holiday, you know, which is so important around having no one person be the retainer of all the knowledge of how you run your practice. So if, you know, even if the person who's in charge of ordering business cards, if they were to leave tomorrow, again, coming back to your question, who's going to know how to do the business cards? Chances are it's going to come back to the practice owner. Whereas if everyone took the time to document that policy, the new person could step in and just run that that path.
And the critical thing is, what I really love, because I like the sales side of it, is document your process of how to follow up a new lead. You know, because, you know, Ed always say to me, if you're not growing, you're dying. But, you know, these are some of the key areas, and there's some standard, there's some guidelines in the Wize Vault around, you know, the process. What are the exact steps to follow up a new lead? And then, you know, have your sales playbook. You know, do we do packages? The more that you can document that, it's just such good leadership, because it allows other people to deliver their services. And if a new client comes in, having a package, like a box there that you can say, almost like a menu of services as well, Brenton, it just empowers other people to deliver those services and follow up that prospect, and not you. So this whole process is really about having extraordinary systems so that you can have ordinary people. And that's a key, because I always used to say, I'm just an ordinary person. If I can build these SOPs, so can you.
Absolutely. Speaking of ordinary people, I've just spotlighted Michael, who's one of our Wize mentors. I'm joking, you're an extraordinary person. Mick, you've just said there, key person dependency is a real risk. Can you just highlight for us your experience and your journey of documenting pro books?
Yeah, so my SOP journey actually started a couple of years ago when I saw Jamie on a panel at an industry event, and he talked about how he had everything documented at Sky, and I thought, oh, geez, I'd love to just have a look at this intranet one day, and here I am living the dream now. So that's been really good, and it's certainly inspired what we're doing here. And Ash, my practice manager, who's on this video, she's working very hard to document the admin side of it, and then the production side of it as well. And we have our senior production manager overseeing a lot of those videos and their creation to make sure that they reflect what we do at the moment, and to make sure they're nice and accurate.
So would you have any tips, Mick, for based on how you guys do anything? Would you do it any differently, or do you use any particular software or anything different to what we've talked about today?
Yeah, so when we consciously do a video and we set out to record one, we tend to use Loom 99% of the time. But then just touching on what Jamie's emphasised over and over is whenever you're training someone, record it. And for that, we use Teams because we use that as our video communication tool internally. And there's a record button there. So we just hit the record on those sessions. And Ash and I are just exploring, how we either re-record that in Loom as a polished version and whether or not we do a written version as well. So
the great point, Mick. Yeah, a lot of firms use Teams these days, and we do as well. And yeah, a lot of firms forget that using Teams, you can actually record the session, and the video gets embedded in the chat thread, and then you can actually download. the video as well, Mick. So yeah, great point on that.
Yeah, save it straight into your directory from Teams, which is good.
Yeah.
Just on staff, guys, and I'll keep you in the spotlight here, because you can shed some light on this. A lot of sole practitioners on the line today who are looking to recruit the right staff under the deep and narrow team structure. I had a question yesterday for practice owners looking to recruit staff at the moment. Should you hold off on documenting your standard operating procedures until you've got that person in-house, and then you can start to record and document as you're training them, or should you just get started?
Just get started.
Just get started, Jamie.
Yeah, just make a start. Focus on progress and not perfection, Brenton. Yeah, that'd be my advice. You just got to make a start and start recording today.
The most critical thing there, right, is when you do start training the team member, as you've touched on a couple of times today, is record every single session that you do with that team member, because then that can be used for training for any other stuff.
Yeah, you can use it for induction too. Like after you've had a new team member start, you can just say to them as part of your induction is, look, there's 6 videos here I'd like you to watch as part of the welcome letter, as well.
And that's a great point Christy's just touched on as well. It's great to have for a new staff member as part of their welcome series a couple of videos to watch to start. So that may be the videos that you record right now, and then you record all their training, which can be included in future inductions as well. But the message there is you have to just get started straight away. There's no time like the present. Yeah.
And just one more example that we had, we recently, in this financial year, we swapped over to Xero from Handysoft, and that was just a huge project, but we recorded everything as we went, and we actually set up a channel in our teams for policy and process updates. So every time somebody learned something about the new stack that we were using, we'd post the videos in there, and then we've had some new team members come on board since. And one of the first things we do is just point them to that channel and just say, start watching some videos, and that'll get them up to speed with where we're up to.
Brilliant. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I am going to get one. Jamie, you talk. Well, I'm just trying to find...
I'll just stop sharing for a sec. But another hint I was going to say, Brent, was I've seen some firms in my travels, they'll actually record, for example, like some firms won't send out like packages of tax returns or financial statements, whatever. And some clients want a bound hard copy. But I've seen one firm, they actually got an iPhone and they videoed, how to bind, the package up. And that was just another example. And they, so they actually put the mobile video on their how-to list as well. So it's not limited. I just wanted to say it's not limited to what you can record on the screen. You can get your phone, and if there was some sort of other video that you needed to do, was like how they open the office back door.
Or how do you? No one knows in an office how to use the printer. No one ever knows
how to use the printer.
That always comes back to one person. So recording how to use the panel on the printer screen is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not limited these days with technology and phones. You're just not limited to recording the screen. you can use your iPhone as well.
It straight into the cloud and away you go. So.